What is up, everybody, and welcome to another Sunday edition of the EOM Combat Coverage Podcast, your faith-based face in the combat space. I'm your host, Zoe Frank. We got another amazing interview for you guys today. Hey, we got a big name right here. Last two episodes, we've had headliners of main events on cards. You already know what time it is. Where my platform got started was my opportunity for Dirty Boxing in Houston. A few weeks ago, we had Dirty Boxing headlined by this man right here, the Wolf, Rob Perez. Big personality. This man was the main event to unify the heavyweight division. And man, whenever I talk about selling a fight, this guy is charismatic. He has the personality. He knows how to sell a fight, whether it's bare knuckle boxing, whether it's slap fighting, whether it's traditional boxing or dirty boxing. This guy has done it all. He's been a face in the fight game for a long time. But hey, beyond the fighter, this man is a good dude, a good brother. I was blessed with the opportunity to meet him. He has an amazing story. And man, he had a few minutes out of his day to where he could have shared time with us. So we're going to recap going over what went down the night of the fight, all the antics that went after, where his career is going from here. As always, man, y'all be sure to continue to like, subscribe, comment. Everything is possible through God and through you guys. So, hey, I pray that you guys are getting something out of these episodes, that y'all continuing to enjoy them, that y'all tell a friend to tell a friend. And hey, next week we will be doing the question and answer episode. So I will be reaching out and putting out the promo to how y'all can reach me as far as getting those questions in. We already do have a lot of questions that came in, and we just gonna continue to add to it. But without further ado, man, here's my conversation with Mr. Rob, the Wolf Perez. Hope y'all enjoy. We're making big things happen. Our first two episodes, we were starting off small, but now as of the last two episodes, man, we only have main eventers on the show. So we coming up. Not only do we have today the face of dirty boxing, but we also have the people's heavyweight champion, Mr. Rob Perez, aka the Wolf. How you doing today, brother? Yeah.
What's up, man? What up, man? I'm doing good, doing good. All glory to God. Can't complain.
That's what I'm talking about, brother. Hey, to get the elephant out the room, because I know everybody's getting familiar with who you are. You are prime time, you're a big face in the sport. But man, going through your resume, bare knuckle, power slap, MMA, boxing, dirty boxing. Like, where does this come from, dude? Like, what's the driving force behind all this aggression, man?
Honestly, I just love to entertain. I love to spread, what God can do, man. I'm a walking testimony when it comes to that. And, I love being a pioneer and like the beginner of something, you know what I mean? Like, when I leave this earth, I want people to remember me of what I've done and what I accomplished, and I'm definitely not one of them fighters that, you know, try to build their career up their record up their whole career to have a shot at a title fight for, you know what I mean, and then that's the last you ever hear of them, or you know what I mean. I like to go in there and bang. I like to entertain and do my thing pretty much.
Now, I mean, I've never met you before, but I completely understand you. Like, a lot of people think that, the antics, the what you bring to the table is for show, for theatrics. But I know that's really you. Like, you really have the will to bring that out. Like, you have the big personality, but also at the same time, you're a man, you have morals, you have values, and you also know like where your roots come from. So how do you kind of like balance that out, knowing that, all right, I'm this as a fighter, but at the same time, I know that I gotta, be still the role model, the inspiration to those who are coming up and believing in me and want to follow this path.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. I agree with that. A lot of people get sucked up in the whole social media life and think, what they see online is who you are, you know what I mean? Which is kind of the crappy part about it. But, I know who I am. God knows who I am. You know, some people just don't understand between, fiction and nonfiction and can't grasp that. But to the people that do know me and do take the time to get to know me, realize there's more than just the wolf. The wolf is just what you see when it's fight time. You know what I mean? There's 300 and 60 something days out of the year that I'm not the wolf and that I don't have to fight. So it is what it is. But I love to do it. I love the energy. People can hate and just rolls off my shoulder to me.
Now, where did the wolf come from? When did the wolf start in your career? I know that, as you've been on the public scene, as you've been like a big figure in the fight game, we see who the wolf is, but where did it come from? When did it start?
I mean, the wolf has always been a part of me. I just when I first started doing semi-pro football after high school, I was, the wolf started off with football, and then when semi-pro came around, it was more football and fighting, like fighting in football. Because some people just couldn't handle my energy, my tenacity, it's not fun to get a playmate on you and then you get taunted afterward, or you get sacked for a loss of 5 yards, and then I get up and start flossing on you. So then I'd have to fight. So it was football and fighting, and then I just kind of got sick of the football and fighting and getting suspended and stuff like that. So, I was able to find organized, boxing, and, kind of snowball affected from there pretty much.
So, in high school, what did you play? What position?
Oh, middle linebacker and fullback.
Okay, and
When the fullback was a used versatile position, and now it's not so much.
right. Did you ever wrestle? Yeah, like, did you take that on in school, or was it strictly football?
No, I definitely when I went to Bacon Academy in Colchester, Connecticut, we had the best I think best wrestling coach in the nation, Coach Voilin. Dude was just a monster. He was a maniac. And he came and helped the football team with some workouts one time, and I kind of love the adrenaline, the push behind it. So when me and him kind of got talking, and I wrestled for a little bit my junior year. I did a couple tournaments, but never really took it seriously as much as I did with football, because in my mind, football was my path. So I kind of just put everything in a football pretty much.
Yeah. Now, after that, well, did you start boxing during that time? Were you always boxing, or did it come after the semi-pro football?
Yeah, after the semi-pro football, I was doing, like smokers and, like rough and rowdies, shows like that. And then after a couple years of doing that, I started taking it more seriously. And then in 2023, I ended up going pro.
What sparked your interest to start boxing? Was it just like getting tired of the street fighting and wanting to try something organized, or did you have a plan of taking it to this level?
No, I mean, I just like being violent and being aggressive and being able to do it in a setting where you can't get in trouble, you get paid, and you get glorified for it. What more can you ask for?
Right. Now, I mean, outside of that, early in your career, I know like as of late, your record has been straight dirty boxing, but where did the power slap come from? I mean, you started off in boxing, and like I tell all my boxers that power slap, you come from a sport where you learn to hit and not get hit, to a sport where you freely defending by just lowering your chin and not being able to defend with your hands. So, where did that opportunity come in from?
More or less, it was just it was like they were advertising on Facebook, and it wasn't really too much talk of what it was. So I was, I was selling myself to something I didn't know what I was getting into until I started reading the contract, and it was, blah 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 slap, blah 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 slap, and I'm like, hold on. So I hit them back up, and then they start, throwing me more details. But at that point, I already wrote a check with my mouth, so I always have to, I always talk the talk, and I gotta walk the walk. So there was no backing out, and it wasn't bad. It was fun. I would do it again if the opportunity was given. But I ended up going back to boxing, and now I'm stuck on doing my dirty boxing thing, and more combat sport. I don't know. I just feel like there's more room to grow and doing that instead of just doing the slap thing. You know what I mean? So
right? Now, even in the power slap, like, aside from that, and then you move back up to bare knuckle. It was bare knuckle that came after the power slap, correct? You went from power
yes.
slap to bare knuckle. And is that something that you would do again?
Oh yeah, definitely. I got something lined up. Late November. There's a new promotion that's coming out. I don't want to drop too much about it, but yeah, we're looking late November. There should be more knuckle action coming on from the Wolf. Definitely.
And you look like you cut pretty good. You ever seen 205 days? Or you plan on staying heavy? Like
I
you're
mean,
looking
I've been
real
thinking
lean these
about it.
days, man.
I've been thinking about it, but I feel like if I leave the heavyweight division, this is gonna be too much. What you know what I mean? That I like being the underdog. Being a smaller guy fighting the bigger dude. I wouldn't want to go down because if I cut down to 205, I'm gonna cut smart weight, and then I'm gonna be able to bounce back up to at least 220. So I don't. I always like being the smaller guy for some reason.
Right,
I like the David versus the Goliath fight more
right.
than being Goliath instead of David. So I don't know. I've thought about it, and then plus I like to eat. I'm Hispanic, so it's hard to give up the food.
Right.
Definitely is.
Now I feel that. Now, the current reigning and I mean, I guess inactive heavyweight champion in dirty boxing, you actually had the contract, was it signed to be able to fight against him before everything went down with the legal matters on his behalf?
Yeah, it was. The fight was supposed to happen. I just ended up catching an injury. So
Okay.
that kind of prolonged it. And then by the time I was ready to come back, he ended up doing his thing. So
And then
you know.
so I mean, even like with the Garcia matchup, I know like, you were heavy on as the favorite and the night didn't go the way we thought it would. But what do you attest to that? What do you felt like could have been went different? Was it overconfidence? Was it overlooking something? Was it something that went on in training? Like what happened and how do you
I
plan on
mean,
bouncing back?
I don't like to make excuses, I definitely felt, after the fight felt like I definitely came back too early. Taking a title fight for your returning fight after almost a year, kind of wasn't smart on my end. But at the same time, I don't care. I get a contract or I get head up to fight somebody. I'm always down to bang. Whether I don't care about a belt. You know what I mean? So that really wasn't what was up for a take. It was more or less just, I like to fight. I like to get active. I like to stay active. So yeah, it was a little bit of that, obviously I got caught with my hands down, so I ended up taking, that's why you always keep your hands up, and everything happens for a reason, so it's just, I keep my faith in God, and I don't get defined as a man from a title belt, you know what I'm saying? So my character is deeper than that. So I don't, I take it on the chin, keep my head high, and just keep it moving. I'm not here to just be a DBX champ. I'm here to fight the best of the best, win or lose. I'm just here to entertain. It doesn't matter about anything else. Really doesn't. Especially after the injury, being able to step back in the ring is a blessing for me. So I don't care if it's win or lose. I'm in there to just have fun, entertain, and give the people what they came for.
Now, I mean, this is a platform of positivity, and I know some antics went down in the aftermath of the fight, and I just want you to be able to clear it up from the horse's mouth rather than have people run with a narrative because they see that you are the loud, boisterous, outgoing personality. So they kind of could take their own narrative and run with it.
Mhm.
That, oh, you started something, man. You was trying to pick a fight with this man after the fight, just being a sore loser. But from what I've gathered and from what I, heard, my side of it was that you were actually showing love. You were kind of like trying to congratulate the man on the victory, be the bigger man, and they were kind of like the standoffish side, just from your mouth, like your point of view, what really went down?
Yeah, we were outside the hotel lobby. I was with my people that came down from Massachusetts to see the fight. So I'm showing love to everybody, and he literally, I didn't even see him behind me, and he pulled up with all his squad and was literally running his mouth and was just basically trying to pick a fight. So at that point, that's why I'm like, bro, you won the belt. Like, what are we even talking about? Like I didn't know him from a hole in the wall. Yet again, people don't understand this business and that ain't nobody getting fed with a closed mouth. So he was too sensitive about the situation and what went down instead of just taking it for what it was and what I said for what it was and moving it along. But no, he felt like he had a point to prove. And then at that point, that's when his dad's like over here rubbing his knuckles, cracking his knuckles, like he about to do something. So now at this point, this all showmanship is going out the window. Like y'all got me irritated. So
Yeah.
it really had nothing to do with the loss. It was more or less like what is there more to say? Like, congratulations, you won. You wasn't trying to come at me and talk to me. You were trying to stir the pot and start running your mouth like you big dog because you had a lucky day, and it is what it is. So that's where I was more or less pissed off about, and why I wanted to fight, because I'm like, what are we doing here? Like, you know what I'm saying? Take your belt and go about your day.
Yeah. I mean, and even in the buildup, I figured like win or lose, the way that you carry yourself, even like the videos in the aftermath, like the giving up the wolf persona video. I mean, you still Showtime, you still box office, people still tuning into what you're doing. So, I mean, building up from a title opportunity, I think even if it's not another title opportunity, the next event will be bigger. Do you have your eyes set on somebody else in dirty boxing that makes sense to you that you feel like could bring that same level of entertainment?
Man, I need my leg back with Rosenstrike. And Garcia, well, I don't care if he got the belt or not. He got to see me again. Obviously not right away. Because it wouldn't make sense. It's not the title. The belt's not that important to me. So like I said, I could care less whether it's for the title shot or not. We just got to run me my fade back because he caught me on a bad day. Other than that, I mean, whoever want to fight, I could care less, man. I'm here to have fun, hurt people, and get the people what they want.
I really think is a clear path back to I know the belt is important, but I think is a clear path back to like getting those licks back, honestly. I mean, to me personally, you, Zach, and Garcia were the top three dogs if Rosenstrike is out. And I mean, you got yours on Zach already. So I mean, that doesn't have to happen again. But at the same time, I feel like Garcia and Rosenstrike is going to be next. But you get one more of those top dogs, and man, they throw you in with either the winner if they're not so quick to bring you back on a title shot, then give you the loser of that one, then get the title shot. That way you can kill two birds in a stone and still stay active. How does that sound to you?
I agree. I agree. Like I said, man, they hit me up. Literally our conversation with the matchmaker, he'd be just like, "Yo, I got blah 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 for you. Send the contract." Like, I don't care about looking them up. I don't care who it is, where it is, when it is. I just, I'm here to, like I said, have fun, be violent, and get the people what they came for.
I know you said that, it, and I mean, no excuses, honestly, but just we know injuries happen, and we see a contract, we see an opportunity, and all of a sudden we feel good. But at the same time, are you going to take a little longer of a layoff in between fights? Are you planning on making something happen real soon? I know you said something is lined up in November, but are you trying to take something again before that?
Oh, I'll definitely be fighting June 6th. And for the Nolan Brothers promotion, they'll be up in the Fenway Park, the Red
Okay.
Sox Stadium. I'll be I'll,
Okay.
I'll be fighting on that card June 6th. And then it's looking like DBX got me lined up in August. So you know what I mean. I'm here for a good time, not a long time. So I'm here to give the people what they want.
That's right. That's right. Now, are you at a point where dirty boxing is taking more care of you than they were, in the pockets before, like whenever you first started? Does that title shot come with a bigger purse, or are you still working on the benefit side?
I mean, I would definitely say I get taken care of when it comes to DBX. Definitely way better than boxing. I'll say that. But yeah, always every time that's comes hand in hand. Every time you get a title shot or you get to fight for the belt, you always get a little big over purse, especially when you were the Wolf and you put on the show I put on. So
You think if you brought the Wolf back to traditional boxing, that you would kind of like be one of those faces that is getting like big time boxer money, or do you like where you're at right now? Would you plan on going back to traditional boxing, or do you like carving your own lane of just being in every form of combat?
I wouldn't mind it. It's just I'm not. I don't like the politics behind boxing. You got to have it should be the best of the best fight the best of the best, not, oh, he fights him because he got a good record, or, oh, we're not fighting him because he might destroy our record. So, that's why I kind of like the more dirty boxing, the MMA side of, dirty boxing because they don't really care. They just they want to see good fights. So, I don't know. I just let, God's will happen, and whatever happens, happens, man. I'm just here for the ride.
If you had to rank in order, like your three forms of combat that you found the most interesting that you've competed in, how would you rank them?
I would definitely go dirty boxing, bare knuckle, and then boxing.
Okay, yeah. Power slap. I know you said that you would do it again, so you just love to fight, huh?
Yeah, I just like to be active. I like to be violent. You know, I like to challenge myself against another man, and the only way to do it legally and not get in trouble is, through combat sports. So hey,
Now, this is a fighting and family, is a faith-based podcast. We call ourselves the faith-based face of the combat space. So we get to know the fighter from the fight side of things, but we also like to get to know the fighter as a man. And we know that, you're a family man. Aside from the Wolf, we know that you're Rob, man, and you have to go home. How does your family feel about this being your profession?
oh, they love it. My kid, my oldest, actually, Elijah, he be messing with me. Like, I'll come home from a loss. You know what I mean. They always keep me on my toes. So, I love it. They love it. So, I'm just here to show them they could do anything they put their mind to.
Are they already starting to engage in combat? Or is it something that you don't want them to get involved in? How do you feel from your parental side about your kids and doing competitive sports as far as like boxing and fighting?
I mean, it's like any sport, they're all dangerous, It's like soccer. Soccer is more worse than football, and has more concussions, because they don't have equipment and shit when they be running into each other. So you just I don't stress them or push them towards it because I do it. But if they want to do it, you know what I mean. Like my oldest, he's more into football, But one of my other, he's into the fighting. I just let them do what they do and enjoy it, and just try to mentor them along the way.
Does your whole family normally travel with you to these different fights?
Well, my wife's always in my corner, but they come to some of them. It's hard, especially like like when I fought last, when I fought Garcia. They're in school and stuff like that, so something I don't want to pull them out of and stuff like that. But they're definitely during the summertime, that August fight, you know, um, they'd be a part of it definitely.
Definitely. Now, where did your faith come from? Like, when did you become like a believer and a man of God? Where did that stem from? What is it? Were you rooted in, faith, or is it something that you developed over the course of your career? Because I feel like fighting and faith go hand in hand, and to be strong-minded and strong-willed to make it in this sport, you have to do something greater than yourself. And I test my success and what I have going on to Jesus, to God. So, well, how does that play a role in what you have going on?
I mean, I've definitely always had God in my life, like, you know, my grandmother, my parents and stuff like that. You know, and, you know, as I got older, you know, I strayed away from that, you know, gave into my fleshly desires. But, you know, as of recently, I started, you know, walking back in that faith and, you know, kind of going, you know, head first, diving in deep, you know. So, yeah, it's definitely a new journey for me, you know, to kind of be reborn again and walk in a different life.
Yeah. After your career is said and done, because I know you said that, you know, you do this to um, not only put on a show, but so whenever you're going to see how you're going to be remembered. But from your point of view, how do you want to be remembered?
I definitely, you know, want to be remembered as one of the best, you know, like it shows in my record, you know, like I said earlier, I don't want to be one of these fighters that spending their whole career trying to build their record up to be 12-0, and then they finally fight someone great and then they lose, you know. If I'm gonna have a whole losing, you know, career, I want it to be against, you know, against like John Jones or Yoel, or those type of fighters, you know,
Mhm.
to say, hey, I went up against the best. I might have not came out with the outcome I wanted, but I still went toe to toe, and you know that takes a lot.
Yeah, definitely, man. And look, we salute you. We appreciate you for what you have going on, man. It's crazy how this came about. You know, if I was to tell the story about how me and you linked up, people wouldn't believe it. But man, we support you on this platform. Anybody that gives us the time of day, anybody who, you know, helps us build and what we're building around here on this foundation. And you one of those brothers right here. So for, you know, we consider everybody who comes on this platform family. And, you know, next time you have something lined up, as soon as the announcement is made, if you ever want to start breaking news on this platform, it's your space. We're rooting you on and we're looking forward to what you have coming.
Definitely, I appreciate it, man. Thanks a lot.
Not a problem, brother. And much success, much love, Wolf. Hey, we're going to talk soon. God bless.
All right, brother, man. You keep it easy. God bless.
Yes, sir.
Oh,
There he is, guys.
take it
Rob
easy,
Perez,
man.
the Wolf. Let's